Hello, friends. Welcome to my writing vlog. My name is Jake Montanez, and I'm chronicling what's going on with my publishing journey. Today, I wanted to talk about my writing influences and where I got into the fantasy genre in the first place. And that boils down to fifth grade when I was way ahead of everybody else in my class because I'd been held back. That's something I don't like to talk about, but it is a thing. So, when I was there, I was in advanced stuff. I was working on pre-algebra in fifth grade, and I had a lot of free time because I tested out of everything that we had in the fifth grade curriculum. So my fifth grade teacher decided to let me read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings while I was in class, which was a really cool thing. So that was really my first introduction to the fantasy genre, and I was completely hooked from the very first couple of chapters that I got into it, and never really looked back. Shortly after that, my aunt had a couple of books on her bookshelf that I had noticed a few times, and I was like, "Hey, can I check these out?" And those were the Shannara books by Terry Brooks, and that just totally bought me in. Once I read those, I was completely hooked. Those were just the first three of his books themselves. The first one was pretty much a direct copy of Lord of the Rings. That's how I've always treated the Sword of Shannara. It was you can't read that and not see it if you've already read Lord of the Rings. Um, but I loved the world building. I loved the characters. I loved the different conflicts that were going on between them, and I never really got away from that. And several years later, Magic the Gathering came out. I was in high school by that point, and I got involved on a website, one of the very first websites out there called Beyond Dominia, that was a magazine, a web magazine, and they had it was two different things that were kind of going on. One of them was a thing called the rumor mill, and it spiraled like all message boards kind of do. And we started talking about fan theories, and we started writing fan fiction, and then we had like this whole little subset of things going on that the owners of the website decided to just create a new message board for us called the War Mill, where we would have this big conflict, and each of our participants would write for their characters and put their different spin on things. And we'd have this conflict going on. It was really fun. And we'd write a bunch of different short stories or pieces of the puzzle from our own perspectives as we got into it. And also on the side with that same website, I started writing some Magic the Gathering fan fiction, which, all things told, it was only Magic the Gathering fan fiction because I called it Magic the Gathering fan fiction. I've never really been a fan myself of using another person's intellectual property to actually write stories, so I'm not going to set my stories for the most part in another person's world. I think that's kind of a cheap cop out myself, and I prefer to come up with things on my own. But I will create a nice little framework using some of the same ideas and concepts that are present in whatever medium I am currently consuming. And at that point, it was Magic the Gathering. Um, Another influence was I think she was my 12th grade teacher. She had us sit down and write a story, and all she gave us was a concept, and it was Esmeralda, Queen of the Spanish Main. And everybody else turned in their 1 or 2 page stories. I had like a 10 page uh, epic version of the story myself that got read to the entire class because the teacher just thought it was amazing. And one of the few memories I have was of giving a few people autographs, which was really weird. They wanted to have it so they could say, "Hey, I knew this guy back then," and I thought it was really weird. And now here I am, 25, 26, 27 years later, coming full circle, having spent an entire career in the Navy, and I'm just trying to branch out. And the stories that I've had percolating in the back of my head that are in the fantasy genre are finally getting to be able to be brought into the real world, and I'm so excited to share that with you guys. Thanks for watching.